What? Oh, right, let me review iCarly. How long it's been? Since October? I thought it was December. Since October 2022 that I reviewed something. Alright. The marathon shall continue, so let's go. It's very interesting. I remember that when I first started the series, which Drake and Josh season 1, I was in 8th grade. Really want to get my opinion out. And now I'm in college. Still want to get my opinion out. I just got too much stuff to worry about that I ain't got time for it. So, yeah. Sorry, not sorry. Hey guys, it's back to entertain, and we're back with every episode of iCarly season 5 reviewed. We're actually almost at the finish line of iCarly. I think we started in 2018 during summer with season 1, and we just got this season, and then technically next season. But honestly, I consider season 5 and season 6 kind of just one big season because they're all kind of interchangeable. But just to recap, I do recommend watching previous videos, obviously, but season 1 was pretty middle of the road. Season 2 was middle of the road, really good or really bad. Season 3 was actually pretty solid, but season 4 is probably the weakest one so far. It was very lackluster in many different respects. It wasn't outright bad, but definitely not up to par with all the other seasons. So now we leave on to season 5, and spoiler alert, we get into the modern day Schneider territory, and let's just say I got a lot things to say about the writing at this point on. I mean, we still got Victoria's season 1 and sort of season 2, so we're not totally into the new era of Date Schneider shows yet. But we're in season 5 now. What we left off in season 4 of iCarly was the start of the dreaded city arc. I know people were waiting for me to get into that little arc. So, this city arc is kind of infamous for its writing and storytelling. So, do I agree with this opinion? And do I think season 5 as a whole is an improvement? Let's find out. This is every episode of iCarly season 5 reviewed. Roll the intro, please. Episode 75, I Lost My Mind. Continuing on with the dreaded Drink water. Episode 75, I Lost My Mind. Continuing on with the city arc, Sam checks herself into a mental hospital, so Carly, Freddy, and now Gibby have to rush to bust her out of it. This episode, and the rest of the city arc for that matter, is just one of those episodes that just gets worse the more and more you see it. I mean, the setup of the crew going to the mental hospital isn't bad by itself, I guess, but it's the fact that Sam, Sam's all being here by herself, for that matter, checks in this hospital for literally liking Freddy, and they actually just let her in, what? I don't even think it's inherently a bad idea that Sam gets some sort of professional help, because we've seen this entire show that not only is she very aggressive and whatnot, but she has a very troubled home life and has some issues to resolve. But man, just the way they go on with it is just so idiotic, and she's only here because she's spiraling over liking someone. I mean, just come on, it's so dumb. This episode isn't really that funny either. I mean, Jim Parsons from The Big Bang Theory guest stars this episode as a mental patient named Caleb. And I'll give him this much. He does have his funny moments, like him laughing at the stag scream, his reaction to Spencer kicking him in the leg. But other than that, the comedy's pretty weak. Needless to say, do I even need to mention that it's a 5, 4, 3, 2 bad episode? I really don't know what else to say that hasn't been said a million times already before about this arc. It's not funny, the actual scenario is incredibly stupid, it just missed potential. And once again, the writers forget that Sam is supposed to be a troublemaker, not a sociopath. It's just a bad way to just continue this arc. Granted, last episode wasn't winning awards either, but still. And then there's the ending where all of a sudden Freddy kisses Sam during an iCarly web show for virtually no reason. I mean, he literally makes a good point about how nobody seemed to care about his feelings during the whole thing, but it's completely nullified when he ends up liking Sam back. I just don't understand. They make a solid point that could have saved the audience a ton of frustration, but instead they aim for the cliche ending. It's just baffling. At best, it's just really boring and has almost nothing going for it, and at worst, it's just a detriment to the whole story arc. Honestly, I really don't even know. I really don't have most. Bleh. Honestly, I really don't even have much to say about this episode. It has a few funny moments here and there from Jim Parsons, but it really doesn't have any rewatch value. As a standalone episode, not within the confines of the city arc, it's a little bit better, I guess, but still not winning any awards. However, that is light work compared to the next 2 episodes. Jesus Christ. Episode 76, I did your... Fine, fine. Episode 76, I Date Sam and Freddy. Sam and Freddy are now officially a couple. Sweet, so we're finally going to see them be enemies, not be enemies for a second, and be cordial with each other, right?
Well, you're wrong.
Oh, no, no. They literally have an episode where they fight over and over and over again. Sam and Freddy are now a couple, but they're constantly having arguments, so they always need Carly to be there to resolve the issues. And by resolve, I mean Carly basically telling them both what they want to hear, and then they go on their merry way. Yep, 5, 4, 3, 2, bad. What gets me about this episode is that they literally set this scenario in which Sam and Freddy can finally not bigger at each other, and they can actually get along, but instead, for some ungodly reason, these hack writers thought that was a good idea to have an episode revolving around Sam and Freddy arguing literally the entire freaking episode. I mean, if the idea is to appease the SETI fans and these two together, wouldn't it be smart to actually make them, have at least a honeymoon phase or something? And the main problem here is the episode is so repetitive. The entire episode is just Sam and Freddy going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth with different problems, then Carly to the rescue. Like, what is the point? If these writers were smart, they would have it be just one central conflict, or at the very least, have it as a subplot or just something else other than this. Heck, I don't know why they didn't do this in the first freaking place, but why didn't the SETI arc just be a side thing in the background, not the main focus of the 3 episodes or so? Full House didn't have a full episode story arc centered around DJ and her boyfriend. You wanna know why? Because that'd be really stupid. As much as I despise the last 2 seasons of Victoria, spoiler alert, at least they had the common decency to have the Jade and Beck breakup in the background as other things happen, in front of it, and as until they inevitably get back together. I mean, at best you would have Sam and Freddy act like a good couple, but there's no conflict, and at worst you have garbage like this, which is just baffling. God. Anyway, sorry, back to the episode itself. As far as key moments that I hate, well, guess what? We finally get a time frame for when Sam actually developed feelings for Freddy. Sweet! Oh, okay, gotcha. So apparently Sam developed feelings for Freddy when he apparently fell off his bike and crashed on the pavement, and apparently he looked quote-unquote cute when it happened. What the fuck? What I hate the most about this is the writers went out of the way to make some dark humor BS to justify their setup, but all they had to do was just bring up the little scene from I Kiss. That's all they had to do. All they had to do was just have Sam be like, "Since we kissed a while back, I've been thinking about you." That's all that's all they had to do. Not only would it have been a more realistic thing, since people usually get attached when people fool around or kiss someone or whatever, but it would have been nice for just continuity's sake. Oh my god. But no, we get something that just happened off screen as a catalyst of the relationship. Yeah, despite the fact that I Kiss is one of the few times we actually see chemistry between these two, it's never a reference once in the entire thing. I just don't understand. This is just basic stuff. If you're going to establish this in the first place, make it at the very least reasonable, not so nasty. Oh, God. And did we get anything for Freddy? Nope, nothing at all. So, great job, writers. Great job. Oh my god. In terms of chokes, there are very, very, very few I like. Especially this little subplot with the lawn is actually pretty alright. And the one argument with Sam and Freddy talking about their moms is actually pretty funny. Mainly because for once it's not blatantly one-sided. Also, the one scene where Carly goes off on Sam and Freddy is kind of cathartic in a sense because of all the suffering the audience, including me, go through. But man, what a disgrace this episode is. To sum it up, most of the episode is just Sam and Freddy having back and forth arguing and then Carly to the rescue. It's very formulaic, but not in a captivating, good way like Phineas and Ferb or something. It's just very tiring to watch. I mean, that's it. That's just pretty much the episode. We're 2 episodes into the season. This has to be one of the most miserable stretches of the entire show. It just can't get worse than this. Oh, what's that? It does? Oh, sweet. Oh, God. Episode 77. I can't take it. Ooh, voice crack there. Sorry. Sam and Freddy aren't arguing as much anymore, but because she's now mean to Gibby instead, he wants to end the same relationship. Oh, yeah, Mrs. Benson gets involved, too. Alright, so after the headache-inducing last few episodes, does this episode make the SETI arc worth salvaging? Yep, you can already tell how it's going to end. 5, 4, 3, 2, bad. Believe it or not, I really can't believe I'm saying this, but up until the climax of this episode, I genuinely find this episode to be the least frustrating so far. There's a subplot with Spencer lying to Freddy's mom about making bread. I mean, it's not the peak of comedy or anything, but, it's harmless stuff. I'll be honest and say that unlike the last 2 episodes, there are actually a fair amount of funny jokes, believe it or not. I keep saying believe it or not, I need to stop repetition dialogue. Anyway, probably my 2 favorites are when Carly asks Gibby where Sam and Freddy are, and Gibby was like, "Look, I'm just having some juice." And the part where Spencer opens the oven to check on the bread, and of course it's on fire. Also, the one part where Sam, mocks the dude who was rowing the boat. They're little parts here and there are kind of funny. Also, Mrs. Benson screaming in the elevator was kind of funny. And as for other positives, I guess Mrs. Benson isn't the usual overprotective self, or at the very least, I can kind of understand why. yeah, she tries desperately to get Steady to break up, but to be fair, everyone wants them to break it to begin with. So I mean, well, not to mention actually kind of not to mention actually dials down the whole Sam and Freddy arguing for once. Actually makes them somewhat act like a couple. However, what brings this episode from honestly kind of meh to one of the worst episodes in the entire series is the god awful ending. Quite frankly, it's incredibly nasty and incredibly rushed. So throughout the entire episode, it's revealed that Freddy didn't get into summer program, and Freddy's bummed out about it because getting into what helped with college and whatnot. It's revealed later on that Sam sabotages chances by changing his answers on the application. I mean, that's already pretty up in and of itself because, you know, if they're both beefing, Sam has no real right to literally sabotage Freddy's future. And it's honestly just, you know, seeing a reboot kind of, or the revival kind of puts this in perspective, but, you know, I have to, like, talk about the dumpster fire shoot. However, it gets worse. Apparently the reason why Sam did all this to Freddy at the time is because when she asked him what time it was, Freddy said, "Oh, no." See, this could be funny in a completely different context. But when this is a major event, when this is the reason the climax of the arc happens, and it's such a minuscule thing, Carly sees this whole thing go down from downstairs, so she goes upstairs and tells Freddy not to break up with her. Mind you, Carly's feeling guilty about all this, but even still, the fact this comes up at the very, very end, and Freddy's just basically forced to being with Sam is just inexcusable. Yes, Freddy, of course stay with your messed up girlfriend. Stay with her, even though she sabotages your future. Just do it. Just do it. I sound like Pie Guy rules, whatever. And how is the conflict? Bleh. And how is the conflict with conflict. How is the conflict with Gibby solved? Silly you for worrying about that. At the end, Gibby just randomly turns against Mrs. Benson and roots for Sam and Freddy. Did the writers forget that all Gibby wanted to do was just stop getting bullied by... Bleh. Did the writers forget that all Gibby wanted to do was just stop getting bullied by Sam? All they had to do was just have Sam tell him that she would stop bullying him. Why is this so poorly written? Oh my god. I don't care whose fault it is. I don't care if it's the writers or Nick execs or Dan Schneider. Whoever it is, whoever's fault it is, this is just awful. There's no other way around it. What I hate the most about this arc, especially this episode, is like I said before, it pleases absolutely nobody. SETI fans will be pleased because, you know, they have to see a couple fighting and arguing all the time. People like me, you know, the smart ones, who don't think SETI can work at all are enjoying this either way. So what is even the point? Like, at least with bad episodes before, I can see the point in them as just self-contained stories. Here, they drag out this entire thing for episodes on end and satisfying no one. Who honestly can say these episodes are good? Christ! To wrap this up, this episode had a few funny jokes, but I can't save it from being not only a 5, 4, 3, 2 bad episode, but one of the worst episodes in the entire show, just because of how sloppy the ending is. Like, these are elementary mistakes that veteran writers should not be making. I'm a 20-year-old aspiring director in college, or just graduated community college, can write this arc better. God! Let's finish this off, please. Episode 78, I love you. Because I freaking hate this freaking show at this point. Sorry, anyway. Sam and Freddy are trying to actually be a Sam and Freddy are actually trying to be a healthy couple for once and do more stuff together. Oh, God. Okay, to be absolutely fair, I do think this episode is probably the easiest to sit through. But even still, is yet another terrible episode. 5, 4, 3, 2 bad. Oh god, you know, it's clear that the writers know what SETI fans want, but instead of having this, in, you know, just the beginning of the stupid arc, or better yet, just having the arc in the background like any other show would do, they had the episode where these two are happy together on the same episode where they break up.
What were they thinking?
And when it comes to the episode itself, this is a subplot where Spencer gets with his old babysitter, and it's weird. Not even some funny way. It's just kind of creepy. I can buy Spencer dating his childhood babysitter because, you know, they're both adults and he hasn't seen her in a while, so I kind of get it. No, his babysitter, whatever her name is, I really don't care at this point, still treats him like a child, and I guess it's supposed to be comedy, quote unquote. And I'm really not trying to read too deep into it, but it's a little, I don't know. The only joke I like in the entire episode, really, is where where Spencer blurts out, "Does he make it to Banana Land or not?" or something like that. And that was funny, but the comedy just isn't good here. Also, I'm not really a fan of Also, I'm really not a fan of Freddy just getting screwed in both situations when hanging out with Sam. It's just not, like, even at all. When he takes Sam to the model train club, he gets kicked out, so, okay, that's that. But when he visits Sam's uncles in jail, I mean, he gets manhandled by guards because of the ham he has in his pants. Then Sam hints that her uncles may go after him when they're out. I mean, it's just safe to assume her uncles didn't go out to get him since, you know, the rival, but it's still just incredibly nasty and just the tone of the show, man. Ugh. However, despite all I've said, this episode is kind of a reverse of the last one because while most of the episode is pretty underwhelming, I really like the climax of the episode. Oh, that's the episode 2. While most of the episode is pretty underwhelming, I actually really like the climax. Sam and Freddy are both in the elevator, kind of reflecting on how things have been between them. And I feel like what I love about this, for once, it just seemed like the characters were just able to breathe. You know, the laugh track is barely played during the scene. Sam and Freddy aren't ever nasty to each other. And the kicker for me is probably the part where Sam and Freddy say "I love you" to each other. Overall, this scene feels like a very nice juxtaposition from the last scene in I Kiss, so that's why I kind of like it. The last scene feels very disconnected from the previous episodes, and just amazing how for the last minute or two, the writing isn't incredibly incompetent. But, with that said, this episode is still bad, but I guess it's better than the last 3, so that's that. And that was the SETI arc, and in general, this was such an agonizing batch of episodes. I really don't know if it's Nick that asked for this, or if the writers were just under a tight schedule, or just they were getting lazy or something. But honestly, these are easily some of the worst episodes in the entire Schneider's Bakery lineup. I usually don't like the fake anger in this stuff, but honest to God, like just the more I think about these episodes, just the more they're just awful. There's this nastiness to it. The storytelling is really bad, and it just pleases nobody. Just like there's no point to this thing other than maybe a few funny jokes here and there in the ending scene of the last episode. But, there's just nothing going for it otherwise. So, it's just hopefully the season gets better from here, because overall this is a really, really terrible start. Episode 79, IQ. Carly meets generic skinny white dude number 87 named Jefferson. Fine. Carly meets a guy named Kyle who's gifted. However, she tries to keep up with him intellectually, mainly because she likes him, I guess. See, as you can tell, I really don't care about this freaking season after the last... Let me shut up. Meanwhile, because Freddy's mom is broke, she has Tebow, the one black guy from the Groovy Smoothie, move in with the Benstons. The main plot is honestly just kind of dumb. Ironic, I know. What gets me about this is that I completely forget that Carly's supposed to be like a smart character. Granted, maybe she's not as gifted as this Kyle guy she's into, but back in season 1, she at least got straight A's and B's. Why they dumb her down like this is just beyond me. I guess the dinner date they have is amusing, but it's not exactly amazingly funny or anything. Then the subplot with Sam, Freddy, Gibby, and Tebow is not a bad plot, but it has some very, very unfortunate implications. Look, I'm not trying to pull the SJW card. I'm really not. But from the way I see it, it seems like the writers kind of make it seem like Tebow, just the way he is more quote-unquote hood than he really is. And that in order to please Mrs. Benson, he has to walk, talk, look in a certain way. And I don't know, it's amazing how much it flies over your head when you're younger, but now I just can't see certain microaggressions. Again, I'm not trying to pull the SJW card, I'm just telling you how I see it. I won't hold it against this episode too much because I'm probably looking too deep into it, but yeah, the subplot isn't great either. There's also this really stupid and unfunny subplot, not even a subplot, it's more like a running gag, where Sam, she's mesmerized by giant silverware, and literally none of it is funny. Oh my god, the comedy sucks. It sucks in the season. What I don't understand is, why do writers think of stuff like that? How do writers think of this and think it's funny? What is so funny about her liking big forks? Ugh! Despite my tone, this episode isn't absolutely god-awful or anything. Heck, I say it's on the same I say it's on the same level of iPie, where it was really close to being 5, 4, 3, 2 bad. But I'd say it's a relatively low meh, more of a D-, if you will. It's watchable and is somewhat entertaining, but it's not exactly good. Episode 80, iBloop 2, Electric Bloopaloo. It's kind of a tongue twister. It's the second blooper show, and basically the cast watches their own bloopers. However, this time they have the Christopher Kane guy from Victoria's blooper show in this as well. Honestly, this episode is a lot better than I expected. I genuinely thought this episode was going to be just a half-hearted follow-up to the original episode, but no, this is a pretty good episode. The dialogue is written well for once. There's some really, really funny jokes, especially this whole salsa gag or apple juice. I forgot which one it was. I think it was this whole salsa gag that literally everyone's there. The probably favorite part was when Tebow just came out of nowhere. But no, I really don't have much to say. Kind of like the first episode or the first blooper episode. I don't have much to say about it. It's not. Ugh. Kind of like the first blooper episode, I really don't have much to say about it. It's just an enjoyable watch. It's relatively funny. Definitely better than the last few episodes. And, it's not amazing or anything, but it's rather enjoyable. Episode 81, I Still Psycho. Nora Durschla is back and is now free from prison. The iCarly gang get captured by not just her, but her parents as well. I guess her whole family's just kind of screwed up. Now, I've stated that the original iPsycho is just really annoying or really cringy on rewatch. I don't hate it, but it's just generally one of those episodes that just surprised me how much I just disliked it when I watched it again for the first time over a decade. However, ironically, I feel the exact opposite about I Still Psycho. I used to think this episode was just nothing too special and not really worth watching, but after my rewatch, I genuinely find it to be a pretty solid episode. Yeah, it's good. I think what makes this episode better than its prequel is that there's actually a lot going on. It isn't just just kind of wasting the audience's time. I actually like that there's a continuity nod to Freddy having that chip in the back of his head from I Go to Japan. Also, the ending guy with Gibby is funny in a pretty dark way. The episode got problems, though. I mean, specifically, there's, once again, a little bit too much coded stuff that Mrs. Benson says about Tebow. That was also an IQ. That's here as well. Again, I'm not trying to pull the SJW card. I'm just saying it's just really distracting to me. Also, the gag where Sam keeps shocking Freddy with the pen goes on for way too long. And at first, it's a little funny, but after the second time, no. Ironically, though, the bad things do come with a caveat. The shock pen scene, went on for too long, but at least the one time where Sam actually furthers the situation by hurting Freddy, The shock pen scene went on for too long for me, but at least the one time where Sam actually furthers the situation by hurting Freddy, I keep saying Freddy instead of Freddy. Anyway, by hurting Freddy and not doing it just for the heck of it. And I'm not a big fan of the coding or whatever, but at least Tebow and Mrs. Benson had this cool action scene towards the end of the episode, which is definitely more exciting than Gibby and Nora fighting the original. The episode isn't amazing or anything, it's not the funniest thing in the world, but I say it's pretty solid and definitely better than the prequel. One more thing. This has to be addressed. Starting from this episode, this is gag with Gibby having a copy of his head, and I just don't find it funny at all. Moving on. Episode 82, iBalls. I know, I'm just getting my mind out of the gutter. I know. Freddy wants to be a valuable member of the iCarly entourage, so he makes a 3D webcast, or as 3D as you can get, which is a standard TV. Alright, so what bugs me about this episode is just that, in general, everyone just treats Freddy like absolute trash. Granted, that's a problem with most of the show, really, but here it's just really jarring because literally nobody sees the value in what he does. It's just been established in the very beginning that Freddy is just a tech guy, and while it's not entirely incorrect, I feel like most of the characters could just completely forget that if it weren't for him having a bunch of equipment, then there would be no iCarly in the first place. Now thinking about it, the first half of this episode is just really obnoxious, honestly. This is running gag of this big bag of yogurt called Bagels, and everyone in the universe act like it's the epitome of good comedy, but I don't. I guess it's good to have Sam sort of being just rude, but well-meaning, like she was in older episodes, instead of just being an outright sociopath. But after a while, her snide comments just get really tiring. However, the second half is also what brings this episode from being a 5.432 bad to a relatively low meh rating. Mainly because, in spite of it, it's actually nice seeing Freddy get some sort of success in some way. Also, it's nice seeing Sam actually be there for Freddy and helping him. Again, she runs her mouth way too. But it's refreshing to see Sam be a well-meaning troublemaker, not a sociopathic Mary Sue. The comedy actually ain't too bad in the second half either. The whole bit with Baby Spencer, per usual, is not really funny and just really gross. However, the bit where Freddy meets the tech producer of the interviews was really funny, where he's like, my life is garbage. The whole bit of the Groove smoothie towards the end was pretty funny as well. Probably my favorite exchange was Gabby talking to the girl with the eye condition, trying to make her feel better, and it was just like, way to ruin it. It's hard to explain out of context, so that part just gets me. It's hard to explain out of context, but that part just gets me every time. I should also mention that there's a subplot with Spencer and this one dude who offers to be a personal assistant, and it's kind of there. I mean, it's not really that funny, I guess, but I guess it's better than Spencer having a magic meatball or Freddy, having this weird, not so dominant relationship with this baby. Let me shut up. Anyway, this episode is just kind of average. I've seen worse, but I've seen better. Woo! Oh, my back! Alright, here we go. Carly and Spencer's dad is overseas, and they try to reach out with him during an iCarly web show. However, trouble arises when they get noticed by the U.S. government. Then eventually Michelle Obama, who of course the first lady at the time, guest stars. Honestly, this is just generally a feel-good episode. The only thing I'm not a big fan of is Sam. The only thing I'm not a big fan of is, of course, how Sam acts in the beginning. Again, her aggression is coming out of nowhere and just going nowhere, just getting old at this point. But other than that, this episode honestly feels like something out of season 1. Of course, the U.S. government is dramatic, but just seeing the cast just kind of happy with Michelle Obama just being there and them having fun during the web show just kind of brings back the charm that this show just had before. It's also one of the funnier episodes of the season. My favorite bits are Tebow not even recognizing Miss Obama and the robot joke towards the end. And yeah, I mean, I don't have much to say about this episode. It's just overall a feel good episode. It doesn't have too many major flaws, and it's clearly a good episode. Episode 84, iToe Fat Cakes. Sam, Freddy, Gibby, and Spencer go to Canada to a fat cake factory. However, trouble arises when they are unable to get back to the USA. This episode is just one of those episodes that's just not even god-awful, but it's just insulting to the audience. This episode is just one of those episodes where it's just not even god-awful, but it's just so insulting to the audience intelligence. Yeah, Sam is more street smart than book smart. That's the point of her character. But there's no way that she wouldn't know who the first president of the United States is. I mean, come on. All the writers had to do was just say any other number, like who was the 20th, 27th or something, and the joke would have worked. There are a few jokes that work, such as that Wars Whack bit with Freddy and Gibby. Also, again, that Sam has a crush on Spencer guy. He's only funny when you know the context behind it, but the episode itself isn't really that funny. Also, subplot with Carly is just really, really stupid. It just looks really, really bad, in hindsight. Of course, this is Dan Schneider. I have to poke fun at the fact that her toe, because of foot fetish and whatnot, is stuck in the drain. So here we go. Insert foot fetish joke here. But aside from that, it's just so dumb. It's just so meandering. Of course, Charlie is trying to, impress generic skinny white guy number 55, and in this Drake and Josh season 4-esque scenario where she's stuck in a room and the comedy just kind of goes from there. But the difference is, Drake and Josh season 4 actually had good writing. This is just a lot of just freaking. Oh my god, I'm so tired of this season. I mean, again, at least the jokes in season 4 episodes like Treehouse and the wedding, they're actually pretty funny. Like just hearing Carly just whine and complain and then just getting it with Miss Benson, I just don't care. Oh my god, I hate the season. Honestly, I was going to be nice to say this episode is just below average, but just when I look at it, I really did enjoy my time with it overall, so yeah, I think it's a pretty bad episode. 5, 4, 3, 2 bad. And that is every episode of iCarly's Season 5 reviewed. Let's look at the stats. 3 good episodes, 2, wait, is it really 3? Hold on, let me look at this real quick. Yeah, okay, here we go. 3 good episodes, 2 meh episodes, and 5, 4, 3, 2 bad episodes. Okay. So last season I gave it a meh rating because despite the bad episodes, it just kind of just went down the middle, but it's definitely the weakest one of the first 4. However, just to be blunt, I can't be nice with this season. To be fair, after the SETI arc, the season is nowhere near as painful to watch, but those few episodes, man, they have to be some of the worst episodes I've seen just from the company. Even then, the few good episodes are just really nothing that amazing. I mean, they're fun to watch, but nowhere near as good as the best episodes in the first 3 seasons. So with that in mind, I have to say overall Season 5 is a pretty terrible season. So 5, 4, 3, 2 bad season. I mean, it's really tragic that the writing of the show just started out so strong, albeit really corny, and then it just nosedives towards the end. Oh well, we got one more season to go, and then on to Victorious. I'm Ev, here to complain. Ev here to entertain, and have a good one. And oh god, just can't wait for next season to finish off this freaking crap. Anyway, bye, Felicia. Season 5 freaking sucks. Season 5 really sucks. Season 5 really sucks. Season 5 really sucks. Season 5 really sucks. Got a girl named Sam. She always eating ham. Got a girl named Sam. She always eating ham. I don't know what I do next to them. Really sucks. Season 5 really sucks. Season 5 really sucks.